Usually when the harmonic content is very high, you will see that there are a number of strange symptoms in a particular. What's more important is to actually know what the harmonic current as compared to the fundamental current, and then verify then whether or not there is a problem. Hi, I'm Eric from Alpha Power Solutions, and today I want to talk to you about whether or not solar power systems generate harmonic distortion. So most industrial large inverter systems that are installed nowadays are from reputable brands, and they typically do not generate significant amounts of harmonics, and they're usually well within acceptable limits. But most of the time we encounter situations where the problems related to harmonics in a site where there is solar installed is that the actual harmonics generated by the client's equipment are actually causing problems. And in some extreme circumstances, the distortion can be so severe that the inverters are unable to synchronize to the grid because the sine wave of the reference waves are so distorted that the inverter does not know what to sync with. The other issue that you can get is then when the solar system that's been installed matches at a specific time in the day, when the sun's well up, and the load of the client matches more or less what is being generated by the solar system, then very little power is coming from the grid. I'm talking again on a grid tied system. That means that as a percentage, the total harmonic distortion of the current can be extremely high as a percentage. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there is a problem. A percentage of a very small load might not really be a significant factor. What's more important is to actually know what the harmonic current as compared to the fundamental current, and then verify then whether or not there is a problem. So we normally use sophisticated equipment to measure this, but what can happen in these situations is that all sorts of protection devices might throw out a high harmonic current alarm and cause shutdowns. But yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing. The trick is to get the data to find out what's exactly happening on site, what the harmonic content, and whether or not interventions are required. And the last thing is that if you have a large solar farm, I'm talking megawatt installations, that are not really feeding a site in particular, but is large amount of power being injected into the grid, it is really important then that quality of the power being generated by the solar farm is compliant to our national standard for power quality, which is the NRS 048. In that particular instance, it might be necessary to install harmonic filtration prior to the power being injected into the grid. Again, it's not necessarily the case. It will depend on many factors, but with the right data, a solution will always be found. And the other thing I wanted to add is that it's not necessary to eliminate harmonics or neutralize harmonics completely. A certain level of harmonic content is totally acceptable. There is very strict rules under what conditions and what levels are deemed to be acceptable and not dangerous to electronic equipment. But yeah, it's fixing or reducing harmonic levels can be an expensive exercise. So the trick is to find out exactly what is required to bring the levels within acceptable limits. So elevated harmonic levels cause damage and premature failure to electrical and electronic equipment. It can cause cables to overheat. It can cause nuisance stripping of protection circuit breakers. It can cause transformers to overheat. It leads to increased transmission losses. There's quite a number of side effects that are not always easy to calculate in terms of the impact they have on, for example, reducing the life of an electronic board. But it will, in certain cases, you will see that, where the manufacturer has promised minimum life expectancy of 5 years, that you are unable to achieve. Usually when the harmonic content is very high, you will see that there are a number of strange symptoms in a particular site. Things that don't make sense, where things strip and you reset them and everything works again. Things overheating that shouldn't be overheating. There's usually a number of symptoms that will give you an indication that something is horribly wrong and needs to be addressed. So it's absolutely easy to do. You know, the guys that install the solar companies, they should have all the required test equipment. But with the power quality analyzer, you can see everything. So it's very easy to see where the problem sits. We typically put recorders on the output of the inverters, on the grid supply, and sometimes on the load as well. And if the load is the problem, then we carry out a harmonics investigation to find the main culprits that generate most of the harmonics present in the system. So that involves a whole analysis, but it can be done fairly quickly. So you either use power quality analyzer that you leave on site for a period of time, typically a week or 2 weeks. But you can also do, when you do your harmonics investigation and we're trying to find the problem areas, it is possible to have handheld tools where we take instant measurement just to refine your search for those problematic machines. So, like I said, reputable solar companies would have all the test equipment and would have done their due diligence and measured everything that needed measuring before they started with the installation, and also validate their promises in terms of deliverables once the installation was done. But if that is not the case, or the end user doesn't trust the feedback of the solar company, they can contact us and we can do a full power quality audit for them. Yeah, that's something that we offer. Well, thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. There's also a blog with more info linked in the description below.